cotton it'll do.
Alrighty, folks, here we are on another beautiful day, and it's just cold as shit here where I'm at. But nice, we have a nice guest here today that you might not have seen, might not recognize. We have none other than the Myco Cat. How are you doing this morning?
Good, man. Good. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Excellent. Well, we're glad to have you. And as usual, we have Andrew Johnson here, and today he is a Cordycepian cautionary tale, and he can let you know what that means and kick us off.
It's kind of just a joke about The Last of Us. Cordyceps are, Orpheocordyceps are the specific genus that were supposed to infect the zombies in The Last of Us. So I'm in an indirect way, making fun of myself and saying I'm already zombie-headed.
All right. So you're going to climb up to the top of a tree later and just kind of
Yeah,
chill.
just fruits everywhere.
It's gonna pop out of a bug's head.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I was just getting in the studio. I was like, what can I type in that's a little bit goofy?
I tried to think of something as smart, but I just wasn't there.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. I have a list of notes on my phone already.
Do you? Well, why don't you dive into them and let's see what we got for MycoCat questions here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you do and who you're involved with, because I know you got some business partners as well.
Yeah, so that's a new venture between me and Jungle Packs. Mr. Anderson, you can get to his site at junglepacks.net. So what we have is an all-in-one kit for beginners or somebody that just doesn't have the time to take to go through the whole process, doesn't have a pressure cooker and so on.
Yeah.
It's an all-in-one bag. He pHs it, to a higher pH. She adds, things like oyster shells, stuff like that to it. Uses white millet. It's very, very successful, which is great because, everybody gives all-in-one bags a pretty bad rap. And, rightly so. I mean, usually they're about 50-50, so these have been shown to be closer to around 90% success. So,
yeah.
It's a great way to easily grow. So what it does is it comes with one of his all-in-one bags, and then I supply the genetics via LC. So, and there's instructions. You literally make alcohol wipes. You literally just need to inject and wait and follow the instructions. It's a very simple setup, which is great.
Yeah.
So I have that, and then I'm a genetics genetic bank basically. I source all my genetics from the top breeders like BAS, Dirty South Myco, rest in peace. I try to find the best of the best, not only good genetics, but good people to support. Yeah. And I carry all their genetics. I have a few isolations of my own. I got a microscope now. Hopefully soon you'll start seeing some hybrids coming out. But yeah, so basically I'm doing that, and I'm starting to try to branch off a little bit. I would, if I can find some time, I would love to get into colonized grain spawn. And I just kind of want to focus on genetics, and I also kind of want to get into consulting a bit. I love teaching, but right now, PGT's got that covered. So, I just feel like one day I would like to do consulting work, whether it be for the commercial industry that emerges, or just for people that need help setting up their lab. And just spread education. I mean, it's knowledge is free. People charge for it, and I think it's ridiculous. But I think we're all here for the same reason, and it's to grow medicine for our souls. And hey, either it's just for fun as well, if that's your thing, So,
right.
I think we all have the same goal, and we should all help each other get there.
Heck yeah. I know that's what I'm here for, is that soul healing,
Yeah, hey, plus it's fun, hey, let's not lie to ourselves, it's fun.
Yeah.
But the healing part cannot be fun sometimes, and that's fine. You need that in life,
Yeah.
Surprisingly for me, the actual I'm just a gourmet breeder and cultivator, but even just doing the work, like having that structure, like okay, today I need to get up and do this, this, and this. Like it's incredibly good for people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, you got to have structure. I mean, if you're just, yeah, like that's one thing. I mean, I was in the military and I didn't have much structure before the military, and afterwards I do, and things go a lot better. I mean,
Same here.
you know, you got to have some kind of order, you know.
Yeah, and those big guys, those hat guys with the big round Smokey the Bear hats, they have a fun way of kicking that ego down and getting your discipline level up.
Yeah, and you know, now that I work from home doing this full time, you know, there are some days where it's hard to find motivation, but you know, some of the stories people have told me and just knowing what I'm doing, you know, is a passion of mine. It definitely helps, but there are still some days where, you know, it's hard to find the motivation. But I just keep chugging along and I'm loving it.
I get that way sometimes, man. But at the same time, when you're working for yourself and you know you're doing your own thing, at some point it hits your head. You're like, wait, who else is going to motivate me?
Right, exactly.
Like
Yeah, you got to be your own
I gotta go.
motivation for sure.
You know.
Well, and it's kind of like the thing I've learned recently with negative thoughts, where if you talk to yourself like you would talk to other people, you'll have a lot more success. In
Yeah.
our own heads, we're typically much harder on ourselves and don't try and motivate ourselves. We will actively suppress ourselves and say, we're not good enough for this, or we can't accomplish that.
That's
So,
a good
if you
point. That's a really
switch it
good point.
around and you talk to yourself and you're like, no, man, you can do this. It seems weird at first because you're like, I must be crazy. I'm talking to myself, but it helps.
No, that's actually a good point, man. Yeah, because I mean, there'll be days where I'm like, you know, have stuff to do, and it's just like, should I do it? And it's just like, yes, go f and do it, dude. Like, what the fuck are you waiting for? You know, like,
Right.
Yeah. And then you feel better after too. You're like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly. You're like, you feel so much accomplished. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's too
that's another
easy
cool
to,
thing about, you know, working for yourself is it's like I built all this, I do all this myself. Like, you know, I wish I had employees, trust me, but like it's
right.
nice to be like, you know, like damn, like, you know, I built this myself.
Yeah. A
definitely,
bunch of entrepreneurs we are.
Yeah.
definitely, man.
Well, and I think a lot of people struggle to see that, especially if people are very professional in how they present themselves in this industry. It's just it's a really interesting dynamic where they don't care for the mainline money grabbing, I guess you would call it. I hesitate to call it capitalism because that brings in the political talk, and I don't like to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
there too much. But the dynamic of the environment we're in, or the community we're in, is that they don't necessarily approve of all that stuff. So you kind of got to maintain your balance.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next 5, 10 years.
Yeah,
Well,
I
even
agree.
in the gourmet space, man, like you kind of get that same kind of stigmatism because even just growing gourmets, people are like,
Right.
They
You're growing
assume
mushrooms.
Yeah, they assume you're growing the you know, magical kind of. Well, it's my one of my friends is going through that right now. Like his coworkers found out that he grows mushrooms, but he's growing gourmets and medicinals like lion's mane and stuff. And like people are like, "Oh, you grow magic mushrooms, right?" And he's like, "No, I don't. Like I just grow gourmet." Like, you know. And these are people that work at a grocery store. Like they know what mushrooms are. Like they're not stupid.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, I think that's just the common conception of what we're doing. I got the same thing, and when we went to Thanksgiving dinner yesterday, one of my family members walked up and he said, "Oh, so you're growing psychedelic mushrooms now?" Like,
Jeez.
no, I just sell petri dishes, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
so
don't even sell
agar.
live
It's way
anything.
different.
Yeah,
That's crazy that they make that association just because you make agar.
yeah. Well,
yeah,
I think they just don't have any other way to associate it to fungus.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the mainstream media, all
yeah.
they hit is
They don't
legalization.
realize that it's such a fraction of the percentage of mushrooms and lichen out there. You know what I mean? It's fungi kingdom is so vast.
Right.
yeah,
Well, even what we experience, like, you've got how many varieties on hand, but they're all cubensis. They're
Yeah.
not. I mean, well, I can't say all of them, but for the
So I
most
have,
part,
I have some
they are.
pans. I just haven't gotten to getting around to growing them.
Right. But we have all these different names for them. You know, everybody thinks they're different, but they're not. They're all this narrow 1% or
Yeah.
less than a percent of the fungus world out there, and
I actually
it's pretty
just pulled
interesting.
my first lion's mane harvest the other day. I'm so proud of
Yeah,
myself. I gotta fix the old noggin, you know.
that stuff's good. You got to be careful though if you mix it with the silly, because it'll
I
increase
heard.
potency.
I heard it gives a little kick. But man, I ate it fresh too, and like I'm not big on the mushroom taste, and I ate it fresh, and I thought it was pretty delicious.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard that.
You can pull piney notes off of it if you grow with a little bit of pine in there, but you can't do
Oh,
too much.
cool!
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Huh.
But
Yeah,
talking
Yeah.
about
that's sweet.
Can you throw some like barbecue wood chips in there and have them taste like barbecue chips?
uh, Madden was actually playing with some kind of wood chips. Like he was doing applewood and cherry wood chips with some other species besides lion's mane. And
That sounds good.
he said he noticed the difference.
That
Hmm.
sounds good.
But going back to like cubensis being such a small portion of mycology and what's out there, Alan Rockefeller released his provisional species list. So these are species that are not even technically classified into the system.
Okay.
And I scrolled down and it's just a grid. And I got to about, I think it was 3,600
Wow.
before I was like, okay, I don't need to read all of them.
That's a lot, man. Holy crap. I thought maybe like 5, 10, 15, but
Yeah,
like,
and
damn,
that's
that's a
not
lot.
in the system yet.
That's
Wow.
crazy, man.
Yeah, it's
I was talking to him too because I wanted to find out what Mars was. You know what I mean? 'Cause Mars is just an unknown thing. Like I even logged into Shroomery and messaged the guy Fish Level Midnight to see if I could get any info out of it because he has something called Mars 3 as well. And I was like, "What the hell is this Mars?" And which it actually just looks like a red Amazonian, honestly. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just an Amazon ISO. But anyway, like I asked Alan, I was like, how much would it cost to find out like what this is that's like besides cubensis? And he's like, it's $1,500. So, damn.
Yeah.
so he
Hasn't
wanted to
come
do
down
I
to
was like, I
Walmart
want to
price.
know, but I don't want to know $1,500 worth of knowing.
that's full nanopore testing. Jeez.
Yeah. He said he would have had to do like the whole full genome thing and all that
Oh man.
shit. Because the other tests were like $150, it said, but he's like, that will just tell you that it's cubensis. So.
You can get
Right.
ITS fairly even cheaper than that nowadays, but the nanopore is we have to do a lot of that in the foraging world, like trying to classify different stuff.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's
Were you at the Georgia Mushroom Festival too, or no?
no. I messaged you at one point, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna come because.
Oh, that's right. I remember. Okay, I remember now. Yeah.
But it's funny. Since then, that problem has resolved itself. So
Yeah, it's cool. I met a couple people from my Discord server. It was really cool.
yeah, man, a
It's
lot of.
different.
I'll be there next year.
You know what's really crazy when somebody comes up to you and they're like a fan of yours. Like that shit like blew my mind. I was like, please stop. I'm just a human.
Right?
Yeah, man.
Well, and that's really what we wanted to do with this podcast too, is kind of get folks in here who are, legendary, so to speak, or that have that.
I appreciate to be even considered that in the same
Oh
sentence.
yeah, I know. I get the same feeling. People will be like, "Hey, oh, you're a goat," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm just born
You
in."
are the agar goat, my friend.
Oh, I guess with Myco Jordan gone, maybe, but I heard he kind of came back for a while there.
Oh yeah, I used to use Michael Jordan back in the day.
Yeah.
I like Christina Chen's plates too, her sorghum plates. It's just
Yeah.
she just had so much volume of sales that she couldn't keep up with my demand.
I kind of wondered what happened with them, because they were dealing with just a ton of
Because like
business.
I just went back to Facebook and I noticed like a lot of the classic people aren't on Facebook anymore. Like there's David Westbury's still there, Missy Michael's still there, but like and then obviously the people I don't want to name, but
Right.
yeah, it's weird. It's like a whole new fucking ball game on Facebook now.
There's a lot of new faces for sure.
Yeah,
I've seen
there
it on
is.
my end with Agar too. There's some serious competition now, so that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, it is good because I mean, hey, I'm a big free market guy, so competition breeds excellence, so and
Yeah,
that's why I like with vendors. I don't there's fucking thousands of vendors out there, but I've let my work speak for itself for the past 5 years, and it seemed to work out all right for me.
yeah, yeah. We've pretty much been side by side
Dude,
since the
it's since
beginning, man.
fucking A1 day one, bro. Like, so, I remember you tweaking your recipe for my genetics, man.
Yeah, yeah. That actually
When
helped
when
me
you
get
first
in
started, yeah,
line.
yeah, dude.
And the packaging too. I remember initially when I first started shipping that things would break or they wouldn't come through sealed, and so no, that was a good time.
Oh,
Being
and I
able to
love the
dial
and
all that
the
in.
grip ring plates that you use too are just fantastic. I tell everybody if they want to buy plates, like get grip ring plates. Like those things are the best, man. They're sturdy. Like I'd never have them crack. Like those other ones, like when I'm wrapping them, sometimes I crack them. Like the thin ones. So
Right.
those cell treats are are awesome.
I'm actually really kind of happy that I didn't get a good deal on the micropose plates. I heard that they're really good, like because they're reusable, and that was why I wanted to get
Well,
them.
they were thin. They were very thin. So
That's what
like,
I
the
heard.
fact that
Yeah.
you could probably reuse them maybe once, I would think. Like they're just like I cracked a couple of those wrapping them because I bought a bunch from I think Agra Addicts was doing like a super fucking cheap deal, it was like 100 for 100 shipped or something. So I was like, why not? You know what I mean? And like it turns
Right.
out, I mean, I think it's the same thing. But yeah, the plates were thin and it just like cracks. I cracked quite a few of them.
Oh yeah, especially if you get used to those grip rings.
Yeah,
That
yeah, I can
uh,
fucking manhandle them things.
all those tapes, the micropore tape or the grafting tape, you got to have some sort of tension on it, and so you get used to just okay, plate done, and then you grab one of those smaller ones, and my big hands just crush it.
Yeah, yeah, me too, man. I got some. I can palm a basketball. So,
Nice.
excuse me.
I can't quite. I used to be able to back when I played, but no, it was that I got it in my hand. As soon as it goes to touch the rim, I lose
Yeah, I
it.
was never good at basketball. I can just palm basketball.
I like
I
to
played
think I
hockey
was.
growing up. That was my thing: hockey and football and baseball
Yeah,
too, but
yeah.
mostly hockey.
Hockey's fun. We just
Oh,
never
dude,
had
I
enough
love it.
people to play.
I love hockey. And it's weird too, because I'm from Florida, but like Tampa Bay has a huge hockey scene. Like a lot of pro hockey
Interesting.
players retire here, and ever since Steve Eiserman came in, man, he just totally turned the organization right around. But
Hmm.
it's fun, man. I love going to games. They're so exciting, and it's
Yeah,
just
they're not as expensive. You don't have to pay,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
3 times the cost for like
yeah,
basketball.
yeah, and you'll get like 3 times the entertainment too.
Yeah. And maybe if you're lucky, you get yourself a puck with some blood on it.
Yeah,
I actually,
it sucks.
I went to
Oh,
school down there in Lakeland, man.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not too far from Lakeland. I'm in between Lakeland and Tampa.
Oh, yeah. Dang. That's a small area. That's like
I'm basically on the county line.
oh wow.
Yeah,
I,
Florida
I do,
Georgia.
and I
that's where
like
I
that
got my Florida
area.
Wildcats, man. It was closer out towards Lakeland. Like I think they were they past county line? No, I think they're probably just about on the Polk and Hillsborough county line.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. College is kind of a blur to me.
Yeah,
But did you hear
Lakeland's
about?
getting crazy. Lakeland's getting freaking packed now, dude. It's crazy.
Did you hear about all that crime out in Ybor though?
Dude, Ybor was terrible for a while, and then they flooded it with cops. Like, dude, there for
Yeah.
a while, like people were punching horse cops and like the horses and stuff. Like, it's like just
Jeez.
being drunk idiots. And they flood like there's like 5 cops on every corner now, and like the strip is like it's nice now. Like I love going there to see a concert now.
Uh,
Yeah. When I lived there, it was about 2012 ish.
Yeah, that's when it was bad. Yeah, because that's when MDMA like they banned the sassafras oil, so like all the fucking bath salts and stuff started coming out. So you had all these people acting freaking dumb as hell, eating people's faces and stuff.
The
So
zombies.
stupid, man. Like you make these drugs that people have used for a long time with no bad side effects, and you ban them, and then people make them copycats that are like terrible for you. They shut down your organs, or they make you violent. Like just
Hey, but
freaking
they're
like
legal.
just taxing rate. I mean, like as much as I'm against taxing regulating stuff, like do it with drugs, and it's like put that money towards freaking rehabilitation and medical program. Like
Exactly.
Right.
problem solved. Look at Portugal. Like it's freaking stupid simple.
Well, and who's responsible for bringing the majority of the drugs into the U.S.?
Ah,
The government.
if anybody doesn't know, research Gary Webb.
Yeah, was he one of the pilots for him?
No, he's the investigative journalist that wrote about the CIA plane that crashed over the Mexican border with
Oh,
4 tons of coke on board coming into the United States. Yeah. And he was found with 2 gunshot wounds to the back of the head, and it was ruled a suicide.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
How,
say. Suicide,
how do you
right?
shoot yourself in the back of the head 2 times? Come on.
Yeah, must have
Oh,
been
that's
an Epstein style suicide.
Yeah, and that's a classic. That's a classic way they kill people too, is hanging.
Yeah, yeah.
But
that's
I
wild.
digress. I digress. I'm sorry. I
No,
got my
Oh, I'm a
tinfoil
conspiracy
hat
as
on right
well.
now.
I definitely am too.
But you know what? These days, it's like all the memes say. It's no longer a conspiracy theorist. It's that person who was right the whole fucking time.
Yeah, I mean, you can Google like conspiracy theories proven true, and like the Gulf of Tonkin, like there's so many things, like the JFK assassination, like all that stuff, man. MLK, they killed all those people. They
Oh
killed
yeah.
those college students at Kent State. Like, I mean, 1970, the whole war on drugs was like Nixon was quoted saying that you can't make being black or a hippie illegal, so he made all the drugs illegal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's sad. It's so stupid, dude.
yeah,
It's a waste of
yeah.
resources.
It's a pretty
Yeah,
amazing
this
history of
war on
drugs.
drugs. The drugs won the war. They
Yep.
totally won the war at this point. I mean, come on.
Well, it's kind of a misnomer. Like the war on drugs, I think was just. It's like a what do you want to call it? Like a propaganda kind of thing. Like
Yeah, and plus it gives them an excuse to violate our Fourth Amendment rights.
right.
Yeah.
It's like that guy that gets caught cheating. No, I wasn't. I wasn't cheating. I never cheat. I'm
Yeah,
really, really responsible. In fact, I'm going to go after every cheater out there and make sure that they don't cheat because I'm not a cheater.
put on my Night's armor now.
Well, so I actually haven't delved into this much, but what's your upbringing look like? Were you raised in the city? Were you kind of in the
My
country?
upbringing was, I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but amazing. I grew up with my dad's a deadhead. They both
Nice.
tripped on acid, all that stuff. So like they're cool, you know what I mean? They smoke weed all day long. But they were pretty free range, you know what I mean? Like come back when the street lights come on. Let me, I grew up around a bunch of orange groves. So like, we used to go out and play paintball in the orange groves or orange wars with other neighborhoods, just manhunt, stuff like that. Um, and then once I hit high school, I started getting into party favors and whatnot and selling them. And at 19, I was like, well, I'm making a couple $1,000s a week, but I'm either going to end up dead or in jail. So I joined the military. I was in the Navy. I was a sonar technician, and when I got out, I was an EMT for a little bit, and that was just super stressful. It threw me into a black hole of addiction. And then I died 3 times from overdosing on heroin and mushrooms. Like, after I got clean, I used mushrooms to heal my mind. And I mean, I don't even think about that shit anymore. I mean, I talk about it to educate people and to keep people away from it, but like it never like I'm never gonna relapse again. I'll tell you that right now. Like I want nothing to do. It disgusts me now. And it even helped me quit cigarettes. I used to smoke 2-3 packs a day of cigarettes, and shit, I haven't smoked a cigarette in about 6 years now.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Power of
So
mushrooms, man.
I mean, and that's why I think with the mushrooms, it's if I died 3 times and I'm still here and and now I'm a mushroom vendor, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is my purpose, to spread this healing medicine. I've had a veteran tell me that, microdosing Phobos was his last resort before he was going to kill himself. And as a veteran, that's like,
It's huge.
it's huge, and it makes it all fucking worth it, And I would love to start up, hopefully one day when it's decriminalized legal, I would love to start up like a sponsorship program where somebody like, say, me or somebody that can grow or has room to grow a bunch of mushrooms can like sponsor somebody who's disabled or can't grow or whatever, and be able to give them excess fruits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Because we can, just something to give back to the veterans that can't, get their own medicine. Because I mean,
definitely.
this is one thing that will definitely cure, a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah, it just
I'm a
opens your
firm
eyes.
believer in that. What's up?
I just say it just opens your eyes.
It
It
does,
shows you
yeah,
the
yeah, and even
possibilities.
if it just makes somebody question the government, I mean, I'd be happy.
Right. Yeah, question anything really. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
we're just
yeah,
so
that's why I tell
used to our
people.
everyday life sometimes that we don't question things. And
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you always got to ask yourself why, you know.
yeah,
Complacency is easy.
it
It
is.
is, and and that's the thing. A lot of people like easy, so they just they don't want to put in the work or don't want to deal with the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same boat I get in with the motivation factor like we were talking about. It's just you're all on your own and you got to figure it out each and every day, and the medicine helps.
Yep.
I got to get back into microdosing. I actually just recently got some sugar. Have you gotten any silly sugar yet? Have you seen that stuff?
I've seen the silly sticks. I've seen giggle sticks. They're like tubes of 1 gram, and they're sugar, different flavors. So I've seen a few people doing that. Yeah, yeah.
I wonder, do they actually extract and put it in those silly
Dude,
stick
to
things?
be honest, I have a feeling it's like 4-ACO DMT or 4-HIBT or something, man. To be honest, I
Probably.
mean,
Could
you
be.
know, it's cheaper and easier to obtain large quantities of that, honestly.
Or
Well,
synthesize yourself
And I mean,
if
it's
you
pretty
yeah,
damn close, really. In effect, I mean, it's a little shorter acting, but I mean, it both breaks down into psilocin. So I mean, it's basically just synthetic psilocin.
yeah.
interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, honestly, I like sports too.
Right. I just am
But I
not
knew what I
that
was getting. I knew what I was getting,
adventuresome, I
and I'm
guess.
I'm big against not misrepresenting things, because like, what if somebody is like allergic to that or some shit, you know what I mean?
Right.
And but they're not allergic to mushrooms, they're just allergic to that synthetic shit, because maybe there's a different type of something
Right. One of the
molecularly that
precursors
could fuck
is
with them,
going to make
I don't
you
know.
break out or swell up.
I don't
But
Yeah,
know.
who knows?
I mean, I mean, girlfriend's tried them, she likes them, so I mean, yeah, it's just it's gonna be cool to see all the different products that come out.
Definitely. Well, like this is sugar from the one of the gals we had on earlier this week, Dr. Strange Duck, and she actually extracts into the sugar. And what she was saying is that by bonding it to the glucose, it it I can't remember what. Gosh, now I can't even remember if it
Crosses
was
the blood brain barrier easier.
Oh, okay.
Is that what
was
she
that
said?
from the glucose or was that from the
That's
niacin?
Probably the glucose, to be honest. Yeah, it probably binds to the glucose and that helps you get across the blood-brain barrier. Probably.
or was that the
Uh,
niacin, like
I
you were
think that
saying?
was the niacin, but I think basically what she was saying was because our bodies readily absorb sugar, that by bonding it with the sugar, it metabolizes more efficiently. So much like adding lion's mane to it, kind of promotes its excel in your brain or shoots it in there real quick. It's the same kind of effect where it gets you in there and it makes the potency stronger. So you
Okay.
can have way less in there and it works out well. She also does it with salt. So I have salt and sugar
Does
that
she
are
do the
blue.
1 gram as well? 1 gram per tube, or?
Well, this is in a bag, so you have to weigh
Oh,
it out
okay.
yourself. But
I
yeah,
will
I
say,
think.
I do want to shout out Toxie's tea.
Oh yeah,
Toxic Requiem, man, he makes some awesome tea blend, because he's like an herbologist basically, and he makes some amazing tea blends, and like I I was a little like in a funk there for a while, and I haven't tripped in probably 4 months now, and I'm still like riding that wave of feeling great, man. Like I know he puts like I think there was Syrian rue in there, but then there was also some other stuff, like quite a few other different herbs that he put in there. And man, everybody I've talked to that's tried it, like me, my girlfriend, a lot of my buddies that have done it, they think there's something special about it, and I do too. It's
Hmm.
really amazing.
I'll
Like
have to talk to him.
I'm just about to buy a bunch of his tea blend and then just use my fruits. And because I mean he does it, I think both ways, but I'm gonna get just the tea blend and mix some stuff in there myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have your own medicine, you know. I liked it when I was growing my own because I could have a consistent source of medicine, and it just nowadays you have to look at what you're gonna get, like the pot shop. You go in
Well,
one day and the selection's different.
yeah, and I like to blend different strains together when I make because I normally make that tea anyway. With a little bit of lemon juice or a little bit of orange, orange slices or something like that. But I like to mix, I like to mix a bunch of different types together because it gives you a really cool effect.
Interesting. Yeah, that was the same thing that Strange Duck was saying. That she would actually, when she'd make her micros or any of that sugar, that she'd get as many varieties as she could and just blend them all together and get all
It
the
makes for a well balanced,
alkaloids.
effect for sure.
Yeah. Of course, she did a whole bunch of weird stuff too. Like she was microdosing with LSD and ecstasy, and I don't even know what else. But
It's just
it was
like
an
psycho
interesting one.
nodding it up. Yeah, well, I get it. I did
But
that
she
in my
had some
20s. I did that
intense
in my
shit.
20s.
Yeah, but I'm at that state where I've got to go hit another trip myself, and so maybe
Yeah,
I'll
it's about
hit up
time for me
Toxie and
too. Yeah, for sure.
say, hey, you want some plates? I'll trade you for some tea.
Hey, yeah, hit up
Make some
Tox,
deals.
man. Hit up Tox. He'll hook you up. He'll take care of you.
Hell
He's
yeah.
he's such a great dude.
Yeah, I've had great interaction with him. Toxic Requiem, if you don't know anybody out there, it's who we're calling Toxie. He goes by Toxie
I
on
think
something.
that's his Instagram. Yeah.
Is it? Okay, yeah.
Or no, it's Tox. It's TOXXSYX, I believe. It's his Instagram.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that
I'll
that
give him
other
a
one
follow.
might have gotten shut down a while ago.
He's kind of got an apothecary business that he does as well, and he like I said, he's so knowledgeable about herbs and anything like that. So I mean, he's very smart.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to be that outdoor guru guy, that
Yeah,
has all that
know what
knowledge
to
and
eat and what not to eat. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. Never reached that pinnacle, but it's nice to
Well,
learn more stuff all the time.
I didn't get my name for nothing, Matt.
Right?
My actual name online is the Appalachian Alchemist.
Yeah. And you are quite the alchemist indeed. I would love to get out there and learn about all the different foraging and processing techniques of that stuff you find out there.
Let me show you guys one thing I made recently. 1 second.
Yeah, I almost came down to that Georgia Mushroom Festival. I just ran out of money and put it
Probably would
all
have sold
towards
a lot
going
of
to the
agar.
probably.
You should come next year.
I'm gonna try.
I heard that they
Keep the
may
goal.
not. I was talking to one of the event staff. They may not be doing it next year because the lady's property that they were doing, or at least not at that location, because the lady's property they were doing it on, her husband died, and they were going to sell the property.
Oh, yeah,
So
I'll
they
have to
they
talk
may
to.
just do it at Rolette Park, like because they had it split up into two sections. They had a camping section with the stage and
Yeah,
vendors, and then they had a section that was just vendors and speakers, and that was at the actual like county park.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
Claudia fairly well, the lady that throws it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
she's already announced it. I don't know where they're going to hold it next year, but she's already like, yeah, we're doing another one.
Sweet. Oh yeah, yeah. It was cool. It was cool. I learned a lot as far as medicinal to gourmets, and that's kind of what was one of my intentions, and to network with gourmet growers and be like, hey, if actives ever come around, hit me up.
Right.
But
So what do you got?
right here, I have some chanterelle simple syrup.
Oh yeah.
It's made of chanterelle mushrooms and just a little water and sugar. it brings out a lot of apricot flavor from them. And so you can put it in like cocktails. You can put it on baked goods. We're making a ganache with it to put inside of chocolate. You can do so many things, and that's just one ingredient that's foraged. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah, man, there's so many things
you,
out there.
do you
People
keep
don't know
bees as well?
I'm sorry?
Do you keep bees as well?
That is something that I'm currently working on because actually where I grow my gourmets, we're building frames with a tube that runs out the window. So the hive will technically be inside my house, but
Ooh.
they won't have any access to my house,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
if
yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they can go in and out the window.
That'd be cool.
So those are a little expensive to build. I'm working on it.
Yeah, yeah. For sure, for sure.
We've got plenty of wildflowers though, so.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Right on.
Yeah, that honey's good stuff, man. I'd like to get a hold of that. Isn't there some psychedelic honey? Didn't
Yeah,
I see
you can
something
actually
about
make
that?
something what's called blue honey. And what you do is you just chop up, like, say, an ounce, and you put it in a quart jar of honey and let it sit for about 6 months or so. And it will leach out. And then, based on how much you put in, you do a little math and you figure out how much a tablespoon is. And you just
Right.
dip the tablespoon in there, and boom, you got some psychedelic honey.
Crazy.
Interesting enough, that wasn't what I was referring to. I was thinking of in Africa, there's actual honey they collect from bees that's
In
psychedelic.
Nepal as well, they do. I think it's THC honey.
But on that note, where you were talking on, you can do all that overnight, right?
Oh well, yeah, but I mean, I know with
In
blue
24
honey
hours instead of like 3 months.
for
You
blue
just heat
honey.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Heat it.
Oh, okay. All right, I got
Put it in
you.
a sous vide water bath like you would your media bottle when you're gonna pour.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
I
that.
had
Thank you.
a friend
I was
that
just always told the longer it's like like fermenting an alcohol almost, like the longer you let it sit, the better.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you'll find people that'll say, "No, you can't do that." And then you'll
Okay,
find people like me that have done it,
and it
and
works.
it works very
No,
well.
I take your word for it for sure. So
I actually heard from a friend of mine, he improved on it even more, because essentially what I would do when I did it was I would just boil it like making tea. You just put your dried product in there, you boil it, you smash the stuff so it soaks in, and then I would press it like through a wine press to get the honey back out. Well,
okay.
apparently in the medical industry, there's some sort of vacuum tube. I don't remember what the hell what they used it for, but it's basically a stainless steel vacuum chamber with screens on both ends, and you put your honey in the top of it, and with whatever that junk is in there, and you pull a vacuum on the bottom, and it instantly pulls all that shit out. And so,
No, that's cool.
yeah, streamlined for a while.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
That is cool.
See, I got the sunshine on me. It's actually gotten light here.
Yeah, it's nice out here today too. Thank goodness.
Man, the weather in Florida right now is great too. Man,
I bet it's probably what, about
it's like
80?
today's a high of 68 and a low of 52,
Oh yeah, that's
and it's
perfect.
sunny. It's sunny, so man, it feels amazing outside.
Yeah, I think we're at probably right now we're at about 34, and we'll have a high of probably like 40.
It's like 50s here ish.
Heck yeah. Well,
Yeah, I know a guy up
winter.
in Maine, and he's like, oh god, he's like, it's already starting.
Well, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what your plans are going forward? Are you going to kick off your podcast? Have you already done that? I know you talked about it.
I haven't done a podcast. I did the interview with you and PGT, which was really hard to do just based on my setup with Discord and the bot and how I did it. Like, I'm gonna have to get with you on this whole SteamYard thing because this seems a lot easier. But mostly going forward, my main objectives is to get the all-in-one kits into like head shops or smoke shop, like even like hydro stores. I heard start carrying them. But like, I mean, all the head shops around here carry LC and all-in-one grow kits, and they're like freaking $70 for a 1 pound bag, and like I don't know how much the LC is, so like I can beat that all day long.
Yeah.
So so like I'm gonna try to, that's my main objective, is to try to get those in. I just need probably better marketing boxing, which is expensive, so that's one thing. I was supposed to go to Canadelic Miami. I was supposed to have a booth at Canadelic Miami, but they canceled it. Me and PJ and Garlic were going to go and work that fest. And I mean, there would have been, Rick Goblin was going to speak. Paul Stimmons was going to be there. It was supposed to be like 30,000 attendees. It was going to be huge, So they canceled that, unfortunately. They're doing one in St. Pete, but it's a lot smaller scale. And because of last year, where they were openly selling stuff like DMT and fucking fruits, they put a nix on that, and they said there's going to be police there this year. So I might just go and attend and walk around and see what's going on before I decide I'd get a booth there, because I mean, I don't know how they feel about liquid culture. I mean, even though, like I said, it's in like every head shop around here, they have little mini fridges on the counter, and it's like for microscopic use only, and they're sitting there selling LC all day long. So now that I have my now that I got my boxes made, I can go in there and market them, and undercut them easily. But besides that, like I said, I'm going to start practicing working on making grain bags, because I've always ran jars. So I'm going to try to get that down to a science, maybe add a little dextrose in there, because I've done some experiments with my oat jars, and they turned out pretty well. They kicked off about a day earlier than everything else. So I may try to screw around a little bit with my oats and some bags, and sell either sterile spawn or colonized spawn as well. I need to get a t-shirt, a t-shirt made with my logo on it. I would really like to do some more collabs. I just don't know. Like maybe if somebody like made good, like I'm trying to find a good bag. I was trying to find a good bag vendor, but it seemed like most of them were around 70%. And like I know when I cook my oats, I'm about 98%. So like if I can get my bags to the same degree, then that will be good. It's just finding the time to be able to do it. I would love to start pouring my own agar, but I don't have really time to do that either. I got my microscope, and I'm gonna get that set up. And hybrid is definitely something that's on the horizon. Shit, I'm gonna start growing more. Like I just started with lion's mane. I want to start growing more medicinals, and then offering them up as well.
I can hook you up with some cultures of some gourmets, man. I've got.
Oh, that'd be awesome, dude. Yeah,
Andrew's the man on that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like when I get to that point and I'm ready, dude, I'll definitely get in contact with you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, dude. And I've got wilds that are from Georgia as well, and some from Florida, actually. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, they'll probably grow great in my environment then.
Definitely.
You need to go down to the border and go find one and call it the Florida-Georgia line. And
Florida-Georgia line, that's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be cool as hell.
It's a good name.
I got a buddy who lives in Macon that has a wild, but yeah, getting something right there on the border would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you just repurpose one.
Get some Florida. I should have called my my albino hillbillies Floribamas, because they're all a bunch of rednecks down there.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Nothing
don't know if
against
we have
rednecks.
real rednecks up here. We probably do, but we
Oh yeah,
got
you guys, they're just a different type.
Yeah.
They're like the what's that guy that used to run around in the jungle with no shoes on, that lived up in the Olympia fucking forest?
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about, the guy who did dual survival.
That's the kind of guys you got.
Yep. I don't do the barefoot shit. I would like to, but my feet, dude, I can't even walk across gravel without looking like I don't know what, not something good.
That's where we're a little bit different, Matt. I can walk over pine cones and not fucking feel it.
Oh man, in Florida at the beaches, they have these little spiky balls that fall from certain trees, man.
No, dude.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Dude,
His
oh,
hands first.
those things are, it's like stepping on a Lego.
We got more blackberry bushes here and more varieties of blackberry bushes than it should be humanly possible. And a lot of them have those nice little thorns that as soon as they hit your skin, they just break off and cause an infection. So, and plus it's always wet here. So like you get swamp foot. So I don't know if the barefoot worked
Yeah,
out.
you don't want swamp foot. Dude, anytime I get my socks wet, oh my God, I hate it. Like when I was growing cannabis medically for some of the companies here in Florida, like working in the greenhouse especially, like I would I would always bring extra socks with me to work because man, that is the worst. It's go all day in wet socks, walking around miles. Oh my gosh, it is the worst.
That's
It
bad,
starts
man.
itching and it's like, oh my God, now I'm gonna get gangrene or something.
Yeah. I had a buddy in my 20s that worked for a roofing company, and he needed money bad. He was crashing on a buddy's couch, and he didn't have ways to clean his clothes, so he wore the same pair of socks for like 7 to 10 days at a time. And it was that kind of like this here, where it's rainy and cold and wet. And he did. He ended up getting
Like trench foot.
trench foot, and they had to cut like I think a ½ inch of skin off the bottom of both
Oof.
of his feet so that he didn't lose his feet.
Then you can't walk for a while. Like that sucks.
Yeah. Well, you just said it hurt. Like if you rip a bunch of skin off your hand, it hurts way more than if you just have a slice because for some reason that lower level has more sensitivity. And he said, yeah, he just wanted to lay in bed. Like even the feeling of the cloth against his skin felt like knives dragging across it.
Yeah, you got a lot of capillaries, like when it comes to that kind of stuff, like your toes, fingers, hands, all that stuff. So that's why, like when you cut your finger, you bleed so much, is because you got so much capillaries that run through your fingers.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought about this right now, but it just makes me think
This is
about
definitely Myco related.
movies. They always take a knife and cut their hand when they
I
want.
know. I was just watching something the other day. That
Like,
did
how
that.
stupid is that? Yeah, I'm going to cut the most important thing in my existence. I literally do
Yeah, and like they're
everything
using
with my
swords to
hand.
fight, and it's like, okay, how are you going to pick up a sword and fight with it when you got a big gash in your hand? Like, come on.
Exactly. Let's go with the old. Okay, there's some blood. All right, it's out of sight.
If I'm ever in that situation, I'm gonna take my shoes completely off and cut the middle of my foot just to confuse people. Just so people
There you
go, wait, what?
I saw it in a movie once.
Yeah. Which movie? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's just there's so many things to discuss that it's easy to get off track, and I actually think that's what this is about. Is just we're bullshitting. There ain't
Plus,
nothing
how
else.
long have we known each other, man? We just start chit chatting, bro.
Yep. Yeah, I know you start getting to thinking about that old Myco community and where we all started. It seems so small.
It's come a long ways, dude. It
So
really
big.
has. It is. Like
But
I go on Facebook. Like I mean, I rarely go on Facebook because I just do most of my stuff on Instagram and Discord. But like to go back on Facebook and scroll through stuff, it's just like I don't recognize anybody.
yeah. I'm not even in any of those groups anymore. So, like,
Yeah,
I was just thinking the other day, I got to go rejoin whatever the new grow groups are and learn how to grow again because it's been so long. Like I'm definitely outdated.
it'll be like riding a bike for you, man.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully. It's just when you run into the other people that are on motorcycles with billy clubs, No, that's why I left all those groups because you get in there and there's just so much drama and unnecessarily
some of it's
criticism.
toxic, and like that's not a good example for new growers. Like to come into a loving community and see the toxicity, it's just that's not good. Like ever since Thomas Maness and Boomer Smith and Angela and Bjorn and all the OGs left, man, like things just got out of hand, and like people need to speak up and call. When I went back on Facebook, I don't know how many people I had to get to stop selling caramel popcorn. I'm like, dude, it's a gift only strain. Like, do you guys respect the community or me at all? Like, I mean, I want it to be gift only. Like, you guys do it with Gandalf. Like,
Right.
why do you think it's okay to do it with this? And like, it's like there's no standards anymore in the community.
Yeah.
at least on Facebook.
Well, and then you get into where they kind of have the standard, but they don't really, they don't have any way to enforce it. So they just dramatize it. They make, they'll make a post about it and talk shit about people,
Yeah, and
and
like I had to
it
get with
doesn't achieve
Sherry.
anything.
I had to get with Sherry from Sports Swaps, and I was like, fucking get your vendors to stop selling this stuff. Like, and at first she was like, no. And I was like, well, do you respect the community? And then that's when she did it. So,
Right.
I mean, thankfully she did. I give her kudos for that. But like, I had to like kind of fight her for it.
Well, and I think you specifically have kind of had a different battle than a lot of those folks on
Well,
Facebook. They like to shut you down for some reason.
it's because back in the day when everybody only sold Spore and I started selling plates, everybody got like, all the vendors got threatened, I guess. I don't know how else to think of it. And because they're selling $25 swab sets, I'm selling plates for 15, $20. Like, of course
Right.
somebody's gonna want a plate over a fucking swab set. There's no guarantee with a swab set. So
Yeah. And I think that that's a lot of it, because even some of the groups I'm in currently, they have those same strict OG rules where, like, so like me, if I associate with someone on my website, or I refer someone to a LC or plate vendor on that page, I'm done. Like, no warning.
yeah, and like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, I respect that. If you wanted to sell sports because that makes you comfortable, I totally
Right.
respect that. But don't like make up posts and lies about me about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just like greed and jealousy coming out.
Right.
But and now everybody's doing it. So
Everybody and their mother.
yeah, yeah. So I guess I'm a trendsetter. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that's how it works,
But
I
like,
think
because the thing was, is I went to Instagram, I was on Facebook and Instagram, and everybody on Instagram only sold LC and plates, and then everybody
right.
on Facebook only sold Sport. So I was like, well, why can't I sell LCRs, live cultures on Facebook? And
Right.
it worked out great for me, and there's nothing wrong with starting from Spore, because then you get to, pheno hunt and do all the cool shit with Spore, like I love starting from Spore, but some people just want the culture that's pictured. They want the
Right.
consistency that the culture's already been worked towards, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
Right. Well, sometimes you see something that someone's isolated, and then you got to wait almost a year to get it before it's stabilized.
Yeah,
So if you get it live, you get it right then and there.
and the thing with Nietzsche is, whenever he gave me Solmac, he gave me F2 Sports, and he expected it to come out looking like the picture that he sent me, and I'm like, unless you send me a clone, it's not going to be close, bro. And sure as shit, when I grew it out from Spore, it looks just like Mac OG. And then
Right.
he wants to make a long post about me, and spread all this hate on me. And,
Yeah, I
whatever.
mean, you probably could have run 100 bags and maybe found that expression again.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
like, what's the point of that?
But
That's
then
the
I would
same
have
thing as
I would
doing
have
it
to
from the
isolate his
get-go.
isolation, and that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see the dynamics of folks that will say, okay, here's my stable isolate, go ahead and grow it, and then you see a bunch of people trying to replicate it, and it just looks like a
And
basic
I
tube.
was pretty proud to see the Tokay F7 and 8. They came out pretty freaking consistent.
That one's a weird one. Like, I
It is.
see that one, and
That one's a wide. That one looks wild. But I mean, a lot of people that were growing out the F8s, I mean, they looked pretty damn similar. Like, no matter where they, their environment or whatever affects, morphology. But I mean, they came out pretty consistent, which is pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, that's always been something that I've tried to replicate. Like, I bought a bunch from Ape King a while back, and I wanted to have that Shakti blue mutant kind of
Like the blue
trippy
wave
look.
one, the one that
Yeah,
that one's cool looking.
yeah, but I never did quite get it to grow that way. And then I also realized that, like, you grow a whole bag of it and you get like one or two fruits, and they look cool, but
But yeah,
that.
it's not much for yield. Yeah, and like that's like most of the strains I carry them because they pack the tub. But
Yep.
I mean, there are some strains like PGT's Blue Sky Ape that are just beautiful, and like yeah, they won't pack a tub, but it's just like they're just too beautiful and spicy looking to pass up, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually got a few of those from when I was playing with genetics that some buddies of mine are working on to refine the pairings on them. In fact, gonna pull a monocaryon from the ominously named Super Mac. My
Super Mac, with the Super Ape and Mac cross.
it was actually before that. So it was actually a Mac 118 crossed, ghetto crossed with a Melmac revert. And the Melmac revert that I had just made these giant fruits, just huge, no, almost no potency. Uh,
Uh,
but then I
but
did the ghetto
he crossed them
cross,
with something potent, yeah.
and they came out with tub fillers. And I think the smallest fruit I had in that tub was 179 grams, and the largest was like 349. But it actually filled the tub. It wasn't like you just had one or two big fruits. It was you have a 46-quart mono tub with, whatever, 10 inches between the sub and the roof, and they were touching the roof.
Dude, that's how the Talk Mountains came out. They grew like they were in like a 19-quart tub, which is like the tall. It's like the footprint of a shoe bar, a 12-quart, but it's like tall. And I had to dub it because it grew like those fruits were like 13, 14 inches tall. It was crazy. They were fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like JMF. You get a good batch of JMF, and those suckers just get long.
Yeah, my tidal wave fours were getting like that too. They were getting super tall, and some of the machine elves too. Like they either grow short and fat with like really cool looking caps, or they grow like really tall with like a typical cube kind of cap, where it's kind of golden in the center, but it gets white toward the edges. But they get tall too. Yeah.
There's just so many different varieties out now. It's pretty interesting to go and look through folks' lists and try and figure out what the heck it is. I mean, you probably have a much better handle on it, but I just don't deal with
It
genetics
is.
that
Well,
much.
nowadays I mean, like, and one problem in the community is people just renaming stuff,
Yes.
or people thinking that they have a hybrid, but they never verified a cramp connection and they're calling it something else when really it's just a pheno of something else. So then that gets crossed into something, and then the whole damn fucking thing falls apart. You know what I mean? So that's a big problem right now. I'm
Right.
huge on genetic integrity because I come from the cannabis industry for 10 years. So, like, you know, genetics need to be what the fuck they say they are.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem, I think. But you
Definitely.
know, because I mean, if you get a different pheno of something, you can call it whatever you want, but it's got to be distinctly different from the original fruit. You know what I mean? Like it, and it just because it looks different and you ghetto swab it doesn't mean it's a fucking cross. So
Yeah.
people just need to not be so quick about that, nor they need to be releasing like F2s and stuff because those are completely unstable.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to take it to at least F5, and even my Phobos still throws like 2 or 3 dominant phenotypes, and that's an F5. So,
Yeah.
you got to take it deep if you got to work it a couple of years if you really want a good isolation.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning to you when you were on your way up to the Georgia Mushroom Festival. I was like, there's gonna be a lot of people saying they have a bunch of isolations, man, but they're really just clones. Like, just watch out.
Yeah, and that it sucks, man. Until Alan Rockefeller gets every single last damn mushroom in this fucking country, I mean, we're never gonna really know what's what.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
there's
even then,
I
we're
just, I just
crossing
got
them so
some. I just
fast
got
that we're
some.
creating new ones.
Yeah, I just got some nebula cross octopi. I'm about to grow that shit out and see what that's all about. But I mean, like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what to expect. I've never seen a damn picture of it. Like
yeah.
it could just be a pheno of nebula. It could be a pheno of octopi. I have no way to verify it.
Right. Well, and you may get something totally different, like you say. You may end up with some new pheno that develops out of it.
Yeah, and I got when I went to speaking of the Georgia Mushroom Festival, when I went up there, this dude I met up with, I think it was Florida Fungi, so shout out to him.
He's cool as
Or
fuck.
no, not Florida Fungi. Yeah, he is cool. I met him at Canadelic. Florida Fungi Fam. I met him at Georgia Mushroom Fest, so shout out to him. And he gave me 2 swabs, and one of them was a Crooked Mystery 627 grammer. So,
Wow.
and he showed me a picture of that thing. That thing was like a fucking billy club, dude. The thing was huge.
I've seen
So
some giants these days. Like when I first had my big one, I was like, oh man, there's not that many, 300, 400, 500's the max. Nowadays, I'm seeing like 900.
dude, there was that albino mystery that came in at like 1,100 grams. Did you see that?
I don't think I saw that one. No, but
Dude, oh my
that's cute.
gosh. And then like somebody grew it out again and it was like 9 something. And I was like, holy crap. I
Did
can't,
y'all see that?
I have one fruit that I've ever broken a 100-gram club with. Like my customers will do it, but like for some reason, my environment, I don't know if it's not humid enough or what, but I just can't grow the big monsters like everybody else can.
Well, I know what. Well, I can't say I know, but I believe what my issue was a specific contaminant. So I think we've probably talked about it in the past where contaminants can mutate your genes. I
Yeah,
actually saw across the board increase in size on everything I did. So, like specifically when I would sterilize my substrate, it would be worse. I don't know why. I just
So,
assumed
so
that
what
it
do you
was
just hydrate it with just regular old distilled water, or?
to sterilize it. Well, I'd do it like normal, and then I would
Oh,
throw it in a
you
bag
actually
and
sterilize
sterilize
it
it.
like in the oven and stuff,
In
or
the pressure
whatever,
cooker, yeah,
in a
like
pressure cooker. Okay, I got
a
you.
full run, like you're doing
Huh.
grain,
Maybe I
and
should try. Maybe I should try that out and do a side by side.
yeah, see what it does. I mean, it'll definitely give you some weird expressions.
Because I have 2 side by sides going right now, some black cap gnats that I have 2 different substrate blends that I have going on, and they both 5 days in are fucking basically have the whole entire substrate covered.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
awesome, dude.
kind of wondered if that's what some of these really successful guys are doing is sterilizing their substrate and then adding something in like bokashi or some
Well,
sort of nutrient blend.
one like I remember whenever before my first Instagram got shut down and I had a couple thousand followers, like people were sending me free samples of stuff, and Pacific Substrate sent me some pasture blend, and it was just manure, lime, and CBG, I believe, and man, that was probably some of the best stuff I've ever used. Um, but it didn't smell like shit either, so I wonder if they sterilized it like that.
I'll bet.
But right now I'm running 2 different blends. I got one that has kelp meal, back guano, humic acid, lime, and CBG, and then the other one is CBG, alfalfa meal, azomite, biochar, and lime.
Interesting.
And they're both doing really well. But the thing is you can't put too much in there either. You got to do just the dash of each, because if you do too much, it slows it down significantly.
That makes sense. It's a lot like
Just like
with
on
Niagara.
items. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Where it starts growing tomatos and shit. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So
You want that
that's one
balance.
thing I've learned in this is like like you want to feed them, but you don't want to feed them too much.
Yeah. Yeah, plus you get that increased likelihood of bacteria or mold catching it if you get a spore
Well,
in there.
I will say one thing I do is I always add hydrogen peroxide to my water, my mist water bottles. So anytime I make a tub or close up my 5-gallon bucket with sub in it, I always mist it all down with H2O water. It's like, if you go to wet your walls, and you mix the tub up, like spray it with hydrogen peroxide water. It's not going to harm the mic. I've sprayed mic with straight 3% and it didn't even bruise it. So you
Interesting.
can use hydrogen peroxide all day long in your water. And I think it saved me a lot. Plus adding the lime, bringing that pH up. I haven't seen trichoderma since I started adding dolomite lime.
Interesting.
So that
Yeah, that's something I
tip
need to
for
look
anybody out
into
there
as
that wants
well.
to try it. Because in the beginning of the summer, I think I tossed maybe 15 tubs within 2 months, and ever since adding the lime, I haven't had a problem.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen a lot of newer things that are more sciencey, where we're looking at pH and all kinds of looking at what the additives are actually doing,
Yeah, and
and it's pretty
I think
cool.
that's one reason why the jungle packs are successful is because the pH isn't enough. And between 8 and 9 is where you want to be, because it doesn't allow Contam likes acidic environments. So if you make it more alkaline, you can't make it too alkaline, or else the fungus won't grow. So it's a balancing act, but you definitely want to bring it up above neutral.
Yeah,
In order, and just like our human bodies, we want an alkaline environment in our human bodies, or else we'll get cancer, right? So it's kind of the same principle, I think.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and there's so much left to do, you know?
Yes, there
We think
is.
we've learned a lot,
There's
but
a
there's
lot of
so
work
much
to do.
more to learn.
Yes, indeed, there is.
Alright, well, we've got our full hour here, so I think I'll probably, tidy up, and I think we probably could go for 2 hours if we really
Yeah,
wanted to, but
hey, we can do this again, my man, anytime, dude. This was fun.
well, I really appreciate you coming on, and I thank you for, showing your face. It's a monumental moment.
I know, I almost didn't show my face.
Well, you know, I would say probably out of all the folks, you know, you and I have known each other the longest, other than maybe Madden, and so I'm glad that you felt comfortable coming on here, and I
Yeah,
think
dude,
we
it
had a
was an
great time.
absolute pleasure and honor. I appreciate you having me on, dude.
Awesome, Andrew. Any last words?
No, I've learned a lot today. Just yeah.
Yeah, I
Good,
think you
I'm
look like
glad.
me, just having fun, you know. So, all right, well, you fine folks. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.
See you, everybody.
Make sure you check us out each week. We'll have some exciting guests. Check us out Saturdays, released first thing in the morning at 12 a.m. You can watch us anytime thereafter.